I think you're a psycho scam artist.
They don't want to end their fraud racket. A lot of the politicians, they benefit from the political organizations, and so they want this racket to continue. They don't want the truth to get out.
Stop fraud investigations, but you're the one who signed off and you're a co-author of it. Here in California, they are trying to pass the Stop Nick Shirley Act. The official title of this bill is AB 2624, and today we're going to be confronting the legislators that are trying to pass this bill. And if this bill were to get passed, instead of going after the fraudsters, they're trying to make it criminal to go after the people that are committing this fraud. For instance, it would become criminal to film and reveal info on taxpayer-funded immigration services like healthcare, which would include daycare, hospices. It also covers counseling services, translation services, and immigration legal services. So for instance, if the Quality Leering Center was inside of California, it would be illegal to expose them. It would make it illegal to film government-funded NGOs. And this bill essentially wants to shield the info of immigrant support services from the public. So your tax dollars, you'd have no idea where it's going because it would then become confidential, and you would not be able to see how much money that NGO is getting if it's going towards immigrant services. And what makes this bill super interesting is the lady who created this bill, her name is Mia Bonta. Her husband is the Attorney General of California named Rob Bonta. You cannot make this up. So you have the Attorney General who's supposed to prosecute and go after the fraudsters, and then you have his wife who's trying to pass bills to go after the people exposing the fraud. Like, seriously, this is absolutely crazy. And the AG, Rob Bonta, just a few days ago said they were cracking down on the fraud way before certain people came into the state.
We've been doing it successfully before certain people in this country decided to think about it for the first time.
However, it was only after I exposed over $100 million in fraud they actually made any arrest here inside of California. Let's say this bill gets passed. What could happen to you if you expose fraud or go and look into immigration services? Well, you could receive a $4,000 fine underneath a civil fine, a $10,000 fine if it's criminal, and a $50,000 fine if it becomes a felony. You may also face potential imprisonment and your content be forced to be taken down. This is a complete violation of the First Amendment, as they are trying to take down and suppress your own speech, make it so you can't film in public, which is taking away your freedom of press. There's a whole lot of issues with this bill, and today we're going to be confronting those that co-authored, signed, and passed this bill. And so truly, every single day here in America, you are learning more and more about the fraud that is taking place. And if you want to become a member of the Anti-Fraud Club and help me as I go all about the country to expose this fraud, go join at antifraudclub.com. It is completely free, and hoodies are also available on the site. And really quick, let's go speak with an assemblyman who knows more about this bill before we go and confront them. Now let's get into the video. What's the truth about the Stop Nick Shirley Act?
So you've heard a lot of people trying to call you a liar. Why don't we just read the bill? I think that's what everybody just needs to know. So in this section of AB 2624, which we call the Stop Nick Shirley Act, it says a person, business, or association shall not publicly post or publicly display, disclose, or distribute on the internet or social media the personal information or image of a designated immigration support service provider, employee, or volunteer if that individual or individual entity or organization authorized on the act of their behalf. And that's just some of the language.
What does that mean, immigration support services provider?
See, and that is where the devil is in the details. Designated Immigration Support Services Facility means a facility where immigration support services are provided, including, but not limited to, non-profit organization offices, Department of Justice recognized entities, community legal clinics, law offices, accredited representative sites that provide immigration legal services, and healthcare facilities. They threw that into designated immigration support service facilities, healthcare facilities.
And healthcare is at the very bottom of this.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where a lot of the fraud's taking place, inside of Medi-Cal. For instance, the hospices, the daycares are with CalWorks, but they're with anything that have to do with immigrants, essentially could not, and is actually punishable.
You're 100% right. And that's where, again, the devil is in the details. Their definition of harassment is repeated, unreasonable, and unwelcome conduct. What is unwelcome conduct? Simply you asking questions today, can that be considered unwelcome? What do they mean by things that you could generally fear? So if they say the words, I was harassed by Nick Shirley, if you were out videotaping a hospice, you would fall under this because healthcare facilities is a designated immigration support service facility. That is part of the definition. It is written here that if you post this online and they give you a demand made under that paragraph, shall be effective for 4 years, where you could be punished. So what people really need to know is that the state of California is deciding to punish the journalists out there that are doing the work and exposing the fraud instead of punishing the fraudsters. In a government that diminishes transparency has something to hide.
And what are some more crazy things about this bill?
There's a section in this bill that says any records or documents pertaining to a program participant shall be held confidential. So there are workarounds in this bill that will hide information that if you wanted to find online the Quality Learning Center, all of these areas can be now moved around and shifted. They are making it hardly proven that in 3 cases alone in the state of California, $500 million in fraud. Thank you for that.
And so essentially an NGO or a daycare, anything that falls underneath immigration support providers, their information would then become confidential.
Exactly. Well, that's exactly right, is that they can hide it because they have changed the definitions. Designated Immigration Support Services Facility also includes healthcare facilities, also includes nonprofit organizations, and not only that, areas that the Department of Justice actually recognizes those entities. It's such a broad thing, so you can cover everything. And then, when you look at those definitions, when I read you the bill, I am reading the physical bill. So when they call you a liar, how? How are you lying? How, when you have all of the information in front of you, and it's a front. When you sit down and you actually talk about it, you know it's a coordinated effort to steal from the people of California.
In that same day, an assemblyman, Carl DeMaio, brought forth a motion to push for more transparency on this bill. However, it was then shut down by the Democrats inside of the assembly to not give any more transparency. And as I was explaining this, one of the co-authors passed by, and it was now my time to confront these legislators who are pushing forth this bill. Here's one of the authors of the bill. How are you guys doing? We just want to ask you about the bill and why you guys would pass this bill that really is an attack on free speech.
I'm not even sure what you're talking about.
Really?
You said an author. I don't think
Yes,
that's
did you pass out? Did you sign to pass this bill? The AB 26?
No, I don't
24?
know what you're talking about.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
You do not.
No,
Are you
you guys
serious?
are just talking about
We're talking about something random. Okay. Sasha, how are you doing? We just want to ask you about the bill AB 2624. Why would you sign off on that? It's a direct violation of the First Amendment, and it makes it harder for people to expose fraud here.
Because you know that if you look at some of the work I did on the budget
Okay,
subcommittee.
amazing. So Mia Bonta, her husband's Attorney General of the Attorney General of California, and it was only until I exposed fraud that they actually cracked down on the fraud and made some arrests here, especially with the hospices. And do you know that if this bill were to pass, it'd make it illegal for someone to go after fraud, especially if it's based off of immigrants, for instance, Armenians in California?
No, I think that that's a misinterpretation of the bill, but I'm happy to talk with you more about it. And
Don't you
fraud and
worry.
investigations into fraud are something that's been happening for a very long time. The Attorney General handles those cases.
You
This
think
is
it's
an
a little
ongoing
weird
issue.
that the wife of the Attorney General, Mia Bonta, is now pushing this bill that literally goes against the First Amendment?
No, I actually don't. I don't think that this bill violates the First Amendment. I mean,
Really?
that's the whole purpose. We have ledge counsel and ledge attorneys that talk with us about this. Constitutionality is really important to the work.
So your bill criminalizes publication of images recorded in public. Do you believe the government has the right to punish journalists for filming in public space?
No, I think that is a complete misinterpretation of actually the
No, because
piece
if
of legislation.
that is not. That's literally what happened. Speaker Rivas, how are you doing? What do you think about the Stop Nick Shirley Act? AB 2624.
I don't know anything about it.
And do you think there's any conflict of interest there with Mia Bonta and her husband being the AG? That just shows you everything you need to know. These people won't even answer the questions. So you signed off, you're a co-author of the AB 2624 bill. What made you want to sign off on this bill that would literally make it so NGOs don't have to disclose their money?
Yeah, we'd have to go back and look at the materials from that committee hearing.
Okay, and what, for instance, just answer the question. Why does your bill apply to organizations receiving taxpayer money? Shouldn't publicly funded entities have more transparency, not less?
Restate the question?
Yes, so entities that receive money from the government, shouldn't there be more transparency and not less?
I think we want to make sure that we are being accountable to public funds.
Yes, and so you sign off on a bill that would make that harder to have transparency.
Well, I don't think I see it that way. I think that we're making sure that, all of our systems are able to get the money out to community and that there's transparency and accountability incorporated.
But you're literally signing off on a bill that would make it for less transparency, sir.
That's debatable, and I don't.
It's not debatable. They're going for immigration-based services. They're trying to make it harder for money to be disclosed.
Thanks.
Look, they just run off.